Hey folks, it's Maxwell here and welcome to episode 28 of TW9's AEW for the Sickos, where we attempt to just have as many banging matches as we can and to try and get as many of the achievements within TW9 as we possibly can. At the moment we've done the one for the 50-year career, thanks to the Afghanic universe. We've done 100 matches. Somehow I've not 1,000 yet, which I was quite shocked at, but I'm assuming we'll be at a couple hundred anyway by now. And we've taken over 5 companies, so for the achievement for 1 and for 5 companies taken over, so that's pretty good. Nowhere near 100 rated match. We are going to replay our highest rated match, which of course was Bryan Danielson versus Rush, so we're going to have that as our main event on Dynamite, and hopefully we can put together a bit more of the Revolution card. I do feel it's been too close between that and Grand Slam, so hopefully a lot of these stories go over. But the good thing is, after that we've got the special for the GR Tribute Show, which is going to be on 3/16, March 16th. I felt like that was a nice wee fitting time to put it in. And then we have a long gap for there to Dynasty. But the good thing is about the GR Tribute Show is we're just going to have fun matches, not really too much storyline stuff. Just see what we can put on in a show as they would have fitting for somebody like JR. So hopefully it's a good show today. Yeah, sit back, relax and enjoy. First off, some AEW Dynamite. So we're in Idaho, we're at the Idaho Central, and I decided to start the show with Nigel McGuinness hosting the contract signing for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Darby Allin banged up, beaten, obviously, for the match up against Hangman only 2 weeks ago, but he wants that championship match. He's going to put his body through whatever he can to capture that AEW Championship from Claudio Castagnoli and, of course, the Blackpool Combat Club. So they have the contract signing, and, of course, as any signing would be, ends up with a massive brawl before the champion Castagnoli decides to retreat. So overall it was a 64 for the talking part, then a 73 for the fighting, so that's good. That's obviously helped the segment. It was a 69 overall, and the Bryan's final run storyline has advanced, so looking forward to that one. Claudio versus Darby for the World Championship. Next up, we finally got to utilise the last of our loanees from that big deal, which was Satoshi Kojima. And we had him take on Will Ospreay, and to give Will some momentum going into the pay-per-view, we had a decent matchup that saw Ospreay defeat Kojima in 9:18 with the Stormbreaker. Overall a 70, Kojima only bringing a 43 performance, but to be expected, and weirdly enough, his gimmick is getting stale. We now hear some words after this from Will Ospreay, and a very good promo. Actually will give us a pretty good indication that we could maybe get one of our highest rated shows with that being a 78. If the main event delivers, we could be in a good place. But he just talks about how he's looking forward to getting one up and over the Hurt Syndicate. He says Bobby Lashley's obviously the man that Ospreay has in his sights, but he says he's not forgetting about the likes of Shelton Benjamin, Powerhouse Hobbs, and of course the newest member, Donovan Dijak. But he says alongside Ricochet, alongside Aussie Open, he's ready for battle this Sunday. And that's a 78 for the promo. The storyline of fan season gains heat, and Ospreay doing well off script as well, which is good to see. Next up, we had Wardlow representing Undeniable, and about that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Wardlow defeats Colt Cabana in 6:01 with the Powerbomb Symphony. This was our storytelling match of the night. It's basically starting off with easy squash matches with Wardlow, and then we'll see where we go. How does that sound familiar? But at 52, you got to start somewhere. And then after this, just the promo again. We just hear from Chris Jericho, we hear from Dr. Britt Baker, we hear from Absolute Ricky Starks, and Wardlow stands there looking very angry after his win. A 66 segment, Jericho looked good. It's just him just saying, I'm the best in the world. I believe I've got one more title run behind me, at least. He says Britt Baker, a future women's world champion, and Absolute Ricky Starks and Wardlow, both the potential to be world champions in AEW sooner rather than later. Next up, with a decent royal brawl, because I had to have one. Jay White defeats the natural Dustin Rhodes in 9:17 with the Blade Runner. Just a wee match up to get Jay White ready for Sunday in the triple threat match. As 69 for him, 50 for Dustin, and a 66 for this segment. And this is where we're a lot better tonight with our promos. We're getting the main people on with promos, and it's delivering. John Moxley is basically at his little section of the arena, and he says, it's kind of sweet, that Jay White decided he wanted to get involved in this basic gang warfare. It's personal between Bryan and Moxley. And he's like, he can bring Juice Robinson, he can bring Austin and Colton Gunn. We know what Bullet Club was like in Japan, but this isn't Japan. The Bang Bang Gang is just as a parody of what the Bullet Club was. He's not scared of them, and he says this Sunday he's going to take as much pleasure decimating and destroying Bryan Danielson as he is to Jay White. So storyline advances, gains heat, 76 segment. Next up, we had a return from injury from Matt Sydal, and I thought he'd be a good opponent for Konosuke Takeshita. So we had about a year with great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as Takeshita defeats Matt Sydal in 11:35 with a touchdown, and it's his first defence of the International Championship. So Takeshita is on a tear, probably a cheat code at this point. 85 from Takeshita, 62 from Matt Sydal, and that gives us an 80 overall. So pretty solid stuff. We did stack this show. We then have like a wee kind of segment here. So it starts off backstage. Bryan Danielson's with Daniel Garcia, and he's with Wheeler Yuta. He's just basically saying, you know, he'll take care of Jon Moxley. He says, but don't worry about it. As I say, Garcia, Yuta, your time will come and we'll be there, and we'll end the BCC for once and for all for the good of this company. But while these are talking backstage, we then cut to the ring where we've got Swerve Strickland alongside Prince Nana. And Swerve just basically comes out and says, so I was telling you there was one guy that was really beginning to piss me off. And that's you, Danny Garcia. See you walking around, being TNT champion, being defended against MD. I haven't seen you, say, come on, Swerve, where's your shot? And I think it's time we had a little battle, Daniel Garcia. And I think this Sunday, TNT Championship, Garcia Swerve, sounds good to me. Forget your whole thing, Danielson and Yuta. You can deal with that at any time. You've got to deal with me first. So I just feel like I want to see these two face each other. Be a good opportunity. Obviously, Bryan's got his stuff, but we still have this big storyline where it is the BCC versus Garcia, Yuta, and Danielson. And yeah, 69 for the segment. I just hope what I end up having doesn't just turn to shit, basically. Continental titles on the line as well. We had a good wrestling match with a decent reaction from the crowd as Kenny Omega continues to get some positive momentum by defeating Johnny TV in 8:47 with a one-winged angel. Made this one go short, sweet, but steal the show as Kenny makes defence number 2 of the title. 70, that's fine with where Johnny TV is at this moment in time. It was purely to get the momentum in Kenny's side. But what's happening with Kenny as we move forward to Revolution, and we have Jack Perry come out, and he basically says when the Elite got back and they took out Kenny Omega, Jack Perry was going to basically ascend to greatness. He was going to be a great TNT champion. Then everything went to crap, and now the Elite want to try and just take Jack Perry away. I'll show them. I'm Jack Perry. I'm the scapegoat. And I'm going to take you out, Kenny Omega. I'm going to win the Continental Championship to prove the Elite wrong. So that's going to be our matchup. Jack Perry, Kenny Omega. Can Jack Perry get on the win column with a big win over Kenny? Remains to be seen. Our co-main event, again with a massive rating, had some good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as the Lucha Brothers defeated Reynolds and Silver in 12:22 when Rey Fenix pinned Silver with a Meteora. Rey with the best performance by far, Reynolds with a weak one, which is a shame because Alex Reynolds is pretty good. I enjoy Alex Reynolds. I love some of the Dark Order's double team moves. But 80 overall, we're just making the Lucha Bros look as positive as possible, all the momentum in the world. Because this Sunday is going to be the House of Blacks, Brody King and Malachi Black, the Kings of the Black Throne, against the Lucha Bros for the AEW Tag Team Championships. And Brody King and Malachi say they're aware of what's coming up, this big, massive tag team tournament. They're going to win that, but they're also going to defend their championships this Sunday. They're going to show they're far better than the Lucha Brothers, and they are the premier tag team here in AEW. So a 53 for the promo. And it's our best match of the series so far, thanks to probably the creative success. And About that had superb wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Bryan Danielson defeats Rush in 17:32 with the cattle mutilation. These two have great chemistry, they always deliver. The creative finish probably boosted it a little bit as well. 83 for the wrestling, 51 for the crowd, 88 segment. I just wanted to make sure we had a banger on the last Dynamite before Revolution, and these are two wrestlers I can trust. So overall, we didn't really improve storylines in any matches, which is fair. It was all promos. 17 regions improved their popularity. I think you've got an idea that's our best show. Best television show for sure. So many matches there with good ratings. The Osprey promo was fantastic. Probably Moxley as well, I'm delighted with. But good stuff there. We've got a lot of stuff booked forward for the pay-per-view. I think that's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches are like absolutely written in. 7 actually if you include Kenny versus Jack Perry. And I've just got to do a bit more booking of Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné. I don't think we'll have a Mariah May match unless I can come up with something in Collision. But as I say, the women's division is going to have a massive focus on it pretty much after Revolution. So that was Dynamite. We'll have a wee quick nosy and see if anything happened between the shows. Oh, Adam Cole and Bandido are bonding. Adam is back from injury, as is Bandido, but at the moment it's trying to figure out where their creative plans is. Bandido, nothing at the moment. Adam Cole, there is something slowly but surely. But time for Rampage, and then Collision. So Rampage brought us a 66 rated show, and we were straight in with Megan Bayne defeating Queen Aminata in a 56. We then heard from the stable with Megan Bayne, Deonna Purrazzo and Taya Valkyrie. That was a 51. Jack Perry got a rare victory with a win over Tommy Billington, which was a 40. We then had the FTR defeat the Workhorsemen in 61, the Workhorsemen being called up for the tag team tournament, the Briscoes Cup. We had some words from Jack Perry. It's only a 44, just basically hyping up his matchup with Kenny Omega. He's here to prove everybody wrong, that he's not the scapegoat of the Elite. He is going to be the man that takes that title away from Kenny. I had Hook defeat Gabe Kidd, which was a 64. Just had some words from Private Party, which was a 41. And to make sure we kept our networks happy, I guess, we had Vikingo defeat Commander in a 71 main event. So pretty solid stuff there. Not really too much else to add. The two things of note between shows was AJ Styles has not been renewed by WWE. I mean, obviously stats are going to be what they quite were, but I think inevitably a lot of people in AEW would have wanted AJ, so we will bring him in at one point, but there's not as much pressure to get him in straight away because there's no renewal from WWE. So I've got every for the big company shortlisted anyway, so anything happens, we've got a good chance of bringing him in. So that's one for the future. Speaking of the future, I just have to show this, so if it ends up getting booked this way, you'll see why. But if I go to promises, half my goddamn roster wants to put Nick Wayne over, the rest wants to put over Jack Perry, Io Shirai wants to put over Sky Blue. So as you can see there, for Jack Perry you've got Osprey, you've got Moxley, and for Nick Wayne, mine have already had Roderick Strong wanted to put Nick Wayne over, but now we have Chris Jericho, we have Samoa Joe, we have Claudio Castagnoli, and we have Kazuchika Okada. God, if he could deal with promos, Nick Wayne, he would be main event very, very quickly with a lot of those fluky wins, because if we want to get him over, he kind of needs to get all that done before the 19th of June. Am I going to do it? Probably. Not going to lie, I might just try and make use of all of it, because I feel the likes of Osprey, the likes of Okada, the likes of Castagnoli and Moxley, they can all gain that over on this back, I think, with just how talented they are. But we'll see how it goes over time. As I say, I don't know how we'll work the storyline, but we'll figure something out. Anyway, we have the go-home show for Revolution. This is the final Collision. So let's do it. So in front of 5,000 people at the Von Braun Centre, we decided how we're going to do this Nick Wayne push. We are going to have him drop the Trios Championship straight away. So a decent matchup here. We saw the team of Mark Briscoe alongside FTR defeat the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, Killswitch and Nick Wayne, and 12:35 and Cash Wheeler pin Nick Wayne with a full Nelson Slam, meaning that the new Trios champions are Mark Briscoe and FTR. I'll be brutally honest, and I think it's probably very obvious as well, I have been shocking at booking these Trios championships, not really knowing what I want to do with them, but I kind of want to fix like every other division first, and then we'll come back to this one at the end, because I do genuinely think it is a case of I've never really watched like trios wrestling being booked great. It never really was a thing when I was younger, and like obviously me more so being the mainstream promotions, just to say for the time, etc. It's never really happened, and I don't feel they've really captured it great in AEW at times. But that's just me personally. 64 overall though. You can see a few there. Actually, quite level performances. Killswitch the weakest with 52. Nick Wayne giving us a 62. Shadowing a face turn. Shock horror. And that was him off his game as well. So you probably could have saw him as one of the best performers really to suit our product, which is good to see. And then we just have a little celebration for FTR and Mark Briscoe. Nice feel good moment. And that gives us a 50 with Mark Briscoe looking good. I also feel it takes FTR away from the tag titles. Obviously they'll have the tag team tournament, but it just means just away for the belts. Next up with the extremely short match, Ricky Starks defeats Colt Cabana in 2:42 with the Rochambeau with the storytelling. Ricky Starks is unfortunately off his game, really off his game, which will hamper his performance. But again, just building him up slowly but surely from the start. As he picks up the win here. And then we cuts a promo, just basically says, you know how good Ricky Starks was before, but when he's got the muscle of Wardlow beside him, when he has got the voice of Chris Jericho, the brains of Dr. Britt Baker, he is going to be undeniable. He is going right to the top whether you like it or not. Next up in a minute, they had some good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Eddie Kingston defeats Roderick Strong in 8:35 with the Blackout Lariat. This one's actually surprisingly really good. I think it must just be a case of Roddy can't have a bad match with anyone. But obviously the skill sets maybe matched up a bit here. But 70 overall, and Eddie looks $1 million going into his pay-per-view match with the Bastard Pack. We then had a little segment backstage where Christian Cage is pretty disappointed they lost the Trios Championships. But he says it's okay, we can regroup. Nick Wayne, you lost the match tonight, just don't be a failure going forward. But we're in a very, very good position because we still hold this contract for a world title match at any point. And that was a 48. Christian Fantastic, Shayna Wayne underperformed. But then moved on to a decent matchup here, as Rush defeated Katsuyori Shibata in 9:37 with La Lanza. I made this one go out and steal the show. A bit disappointed in Shibata. I thought these two had a very, very good match together. But at 65, we're more still going to be pushing Rush rather than Shibata. Although we do have a plan for Shibata going forward. 65 is pretty okay. I think you know with Rush you're going to get stellar stuff against the likes of Bryan. And maybe if Shibata had a bit more overness, that'd be the case here. And then afterwards, just a promo. Usual Rush kind of thing. You know, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. But yes, someone I really want to get behind. It's just because there is about 90 million different people on this roster. Then I had a little segment backstage. It was just like a kind of meeting between the conglomeration. Rocky Romero just saying, you know, Orange Cassidy was coming off a great victory over Swerve Strickland at Grand Slam. He's like, what is next for Orange Cassidy? He has to go out and make something happen, take him up to that next step. You also see Kyle O'Reilly going, guys, I'll be 2 minutes, I need to answer this phone call. And he kind of walks away. So 55 for the segment. Who knows what that means for Kyle O'Reilly? Who knows what it means for Orange Cassidy or Rocky Romero or the conglomeration? But Orange Cassidy then ends up, you know, bumping into Don Callis. And, you know, that way you get the kind of awkward Orange Cassidy segments where he's kind of just like, yo, he's kind of in the way and Callis just gets frustrated with him. And then somehow basically he wangles Don Callis into saying, you know what, I'm going to get Takeshita to teach you a lesson tomorrow night. International Championship, that many goddamn titles. And Takeshita is going to basically clothesline your head off, kick your head off, and show that you're nothing in this company. So it was a wee quick way to Takeshita on the card, get Cassidy something. And to be honest, I think it should be a banger. So there we go. Very, very late in the day. No real build up, but there you go, Orange Cassidy, Takeshita, International Championship, 68. I then had a wild brawl here. So obviously this didn't suit them because the wrestling was good. The crowd was okay, but the segment flopped and the performances were pretty good. But I thought it would benefit Brody King. Pettis Brawl is not terrible, but it is what it is. And of course, this is a showcase before they face each other tomorrow night in the tag team title match. But it was Penta picking up the win on Brody in 12:04 with the surprise roll up. Maybe, I know why this is down actually. Brody King didn't want to put Penta over, that's right, I had to keep him looking strong. He obviously lose points for that. That was a thing last night. But overall, as I say, it's to set up that match up. and give Penta a bit of momentum going into it. We had a little segment here. It was basically Daniel Garcia having a talk down with the remarkable Renee Paquette, and he just basically talks about, he's the good run as TNT champion. Obviously, he's got these issues with the BCC, and he obviously wants to make sure he gets his revenge on them, for what they've done to him, what they've done to Yuta, what they've done to Bryan Danielson. But I feel like, alright, so if Strickland wants to take advantage of that distraction, he wants to try and call me out, that's fine. I'll take on anybody for this belt, and I look forward to pin Swerve Strickland tomorrow night for the TNT Championship. So, 66. Co-main was about to had some good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Io Shirai defeats Serena Deeb in 11:59 with the moonsault press. I think this is the third time we've had these two face each other. That way where both are just insanely talented and I just like them wrestling each other. So a 74 here, Io bringing an 82, she is fantastic. Serena with 56. I feel at the same time I need to keep Serena away from Io going forward because Serena needs wins, but she needs wins and there's a tournament to go up, so hopefully we can focus our momentum that way. And then we have a little video package on the scapegoat Jack Perry, just his preparation ahead of the match with Kenny Omega. And he basically says if he loses this match up against Kenny, then he accepts the Elite won't take him back and he's done with the Elite forever. And that was a 38. And your main event, make sure we gain pop, Bryan Danielson. But I felt it was nice to try someone else out in a main event slot that you wouldn't usually expect in it. It was a technical masterclass that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as the American Dragon Bryan Danielson defeats Anthony Henry, or Henry from the Workhorsemen, in 14:50 with a running knee. So a nice showcase for Anthony Henry. 71 for the wrestling, 46 crowd, 80 for the segment. So Bryan making good stuff work. And how do you get the crowd anticipated, ready for a big major triple threat match? You have a three-way brawl between Switchblade Jay White, Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson before we fade to black. So no real advantage here, it's just fighting and then we cut away. I think that's been a lot of my segments have kind of ended that way. It's just like there's not been any clear winner and it leaves it open for this triple threat match. So 69 for that. And the show itself, a 74. 11 popularity gains, so that's good to see. And the fans were disappointed. I get that, but it's like I don't want them all fighting each other in matches. I'd rather just have them all gaining momentum before we get there. Is that going to cost me? Possibly. I mean, I feel more we lost because we never had a great promo to accommodate an 80-rated match. I think our best promo... Did we get anything in it? A 68, so there's a big gap between an 80 and a 68. So a 74 is actually bang in the middle, but maybe that's something I need to work on as a booker. As I say, I just like keeping them apart before the big matches, but yeah, as long as we're gaining pop, I suppose we're doing something. So maybe more in the future I'll look at more dramatic stakes, but we'll see. Financial report, just under 600k. I will be negotiating the deal for Shockwave after this show, because I want it to be on a Saturday night alongside Collision. And if I'd obviously done it before now, it would have started tonight, so I need to wait. So popularity, you can see the places that are up to 69. A lot of those places were a 68 beforehand. Obviously that very good Dynamite helped as well. And obviously Media Scrum is not an option on a TV show. So I'm just going to run down the card as we head to the main screen. So you are going to see Darby Allin, Claudio Castagnoli for the AEW World Championship. That main event, so a lot of pressure on they two to deliver. Jay White, Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley in a triple threat match. We've got Eddie Kingston versus Pac. New Japan Strong Women's Championship, Mercedes Moné versus Timeless Toni Storm. Swerve Strickland challenges Daniel Garcia's TNT Championship. Aussie Open, Will Ospreay, Ricochet will take on the Hurt Syndicate's Powerhouse Hobbs, Bobby Lashley, Donovan Dijak and Shelton Benjamin. Tag team titles on the line as the Lucha Bros take on the Kings of the Black Throne. Continental Championship on the line as Kenny Omega takes on Jack Perry. And the International Championship on the line as Orange Cassidy takes on Takeshita. All that, and I couldn't get Okada and the Bucks on the card. Mental. That's actually a nice match for FTR and the Briscoes, but nah, I'll resist. But pretty happy with it. As I say, it was quite a quick turnaround from the last pay-per-view. But at least after this, when we get to the GR Tribute show, it's just fun matches. And then it's really the build for Dynasty from there. So Collision, drawing a lot of praise, which is good to see. Kid Bandit returns from there. Becky's not back yet. We could actually sign Becky Lynch, but she just still is in a hiatus, and I don't want to be forking out like 90 grand a month to someone that's not really going to come back anytime soon. Quite a few contracts from Japan. And Jada Parker, how's her stats in this? You could probably develop her, but realistically, I would be quite content with just letting her stay in NXT for a bit and then maybe sign her down the line and just a renewal there for Turbo Floyd. We're looking to renew Lance Archer, probably send her back to Ring of Honor, same with Ricky Bonnie. And if we look here, Axel Dieter Jr. has relocated. Julia Hart's back, although she's not technically back because she's on maternity leave now. So we won't really get Julia until October. MJF's back, so I don't even know if I can factor him into any storyline. That's going to be interesting. Raven's gone. Did I only put him limited appearances? I thought I was going to keep him as a... I have an idea for him, but we'll see where it goes. Basically similar to Darby Allin, but not quite. Thunder Rosa's back. Perfect timing for the Grand Prix. Zack Sabre Jr.'s in the Southeast. Collision was a 1.29. And RD Evans, it basically states the obvious about Takeshita. So, well, I mean, you get a good eye for talent, worth pushing hard, just put a title belt on him and popularity 59. I mean, he isn't a contract now to 2030, a 5-year deal written. With an Cod contract thingy, so we should be safe with him. But nah, I'm quite happy with that, as I say, in terms of ins and outs. Other thing I should have probably had as well, we made 1.6 profit last month, sorry. Ticket sales were good, pay-per-view revenue was up as well, broadcast was actually down. I think that's just because of the amount of time though. Obviously it's February being a smaller month. Sponsors was up, merch was up, developmental was up, because obviously we've got like 6 companies now. But at the same time our worker costs have doubled because of that. So we'll see how that goes down the line. If we need to shut things down, we'll shut them down, but as I say, we're still rocking like only a 6 million loss since the start of the save, and that was all because the media input in December. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you'll join us for the pay-per-view next time out in a couple of days' time. As always, wee thumbs up, deeply appreciated. Let us know your thoughts on the save, your saves, and TW in general. And remember to check out the Fantasy Bookers subreddit, Grey Dog Software Forums, twdv.com, and bethebooker.net. And until then, take it easy. Bye bye. See you soon.